recording. All right, cool. My bad. Okay, so I'll start off talking about a little bit about Java. So originally we had a high-level language called C++, and Java basically enabled a lot of the features of C++ to be more abstracted, which is why it became so popular. And currently it runs on 3 billion devices, and it's pretty popular for a lot of things. Especially now you have the hype around like Android apps, and it's also used on a lot of web pages for additional functionality. And so I'll start off by telling you a little bit about the boilerplate code of Java. When you're starting out writing any sort of program, you have a main method, and it's traditionally defined in this way. You have public static void main, and as an argument, you have a string array of args. And we'll talk about all this later, so don't worry. For now, just know that when you click the run button here, what runs is this. Program execution always begins at the main method, and it's important to remember that. It's actually a really important idea to remember that program execution always starts here, and a lot of programmers use this idea and they use their main method as like their central point, and then kind of build off of that main method, if that makes sense. And next, in programming, when you're first learning a programming language, you always start off with "Hello World," right? That's like typically a classic. So in Python and other languages, it's much simpler to print out "Hello World," but in Java you have system.out.println "Hello World." So let's go ahead and try running that. Let's see what it tells us. Okay. Let me do something. Okay. Let me go ahead and okay. Okay, so let me try running it here. Great, so it printed out "Hello World" for us. So, one second, someone. Okay, so we have this is how we basically print out "Hello World," and it's important to remember that don't get caught up in the little details when you're first starting out learning a programming language, because you might be like, what's system, what's out, what's println? Just remember that this piece of code helps you print out a line to the console. That's all you have to remember right now. So I'll put that in comments. And just like a little side note, commenting is always an important part of Java, because it helps you keep track of what you're doing on each line. So I'm going to say, this is how you print to the console, right? So I'm printing out "Hello World" here, and you can print out anything, right? I can print out Neil is awesome, right? So let's print it out. And if you guys want, you can follow along with me on your own Replit. And obviously this will all be available to you after the class, so no need to worry. And later you'll learn that this is the system.out object, and I have a behavior called println, but no need to worry about that right now. Just know that this is a tool that helps you print to the console. And just like a little side note, this is a concept that programmers use all the time. It's a concept called abstraction, and if you've taken an Intro to CS course, you've definitely heard about this idea. Abstraction is basically the idea that says, okay, well, in order to use the toilet, I don't need to know how the toilet works in order to flush the toilet. I don't need to know how my smartphone works in depth in order to use my smartphone. Similarly, I don't need to know how system.out.println works under the hood in order to print out "Neil is awesome." So treat these concepts as tools, and as you get deeper and deeper into a programming language, you'll begin to understand how everything works under the hood. But for now, this is the basic syntax. Alright, and then kind of the next idea I want to talk about is, here are kind of the lecture notes I'll be using. I think you guys can see it. We'll be talking about the semicolon. Okay, this is a big one. So in Python, you don't need the semicolon, but Java is a very syntax heavy language, and I think that's important to remember. A lot of the times when you're coding in Java, you'll find that your entire logic is fine, everything's fine, and like a common joke in like the programming world is like, oh, I just forgot about a semicolon, which is the reason my entire program is failing. So remember your semicolon, guys. It's pretty important. And you have brackets here in Python and other languages. If you're familiar with that, they'll just have a statement like A is greater than B, and they'll put like a colon, right? But no, Java's better than that. Java uses brackets. I don't know if it's better, but you know what I mean. Oh yeah, keywords. Okay, so when you're using any sort of editor, you'll notice that some words are highlighted. You're like, why are these words highlighted? Is it to look pretty? I mean, to a certain degree, it is to look pretty. Like you'll see those expert hacker programmers. They'll have like their dark mode enabled, and they'll have these cool like syntax highlighting. But a big reason why these things are highlighted is because they're to show they're keywords. Like all the things that are highlighted in blue, they're all keywords. And so you have public, static, void, class. These are all concepts in Java. These are all keywords in Java. So let me write a bit of a spiel about this. So you have keywords in Java, and they're keywords because they're used so common that they decided to have a specific meaning for them. So I want to tell you about how keywords and variables relate, but in order to tell you that, I have to talk to you about variables. So I'll start from scratch. Not Scratch the programming language, but Scratch as in like the baseline. So in science experiments, you have variables, right? You're testing something, and a variable essentially means you can hold any value. So you have the number 1. Is 1 a variable? No, because 1 is always 1. You have 1 apple, 1 orange, 1 dog. But let's say I type in x, right? What is x? X can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It can be any number, right? A variable just means, hey, I can use a tool called a variable to hold any value. And in Java, here's how you define a variable. You would say the type of the variable, and I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. And remember, the best way to learn programming is by doing. So it's always helpful to have a replit or your preferred editor open in a different tab or in a different window and follow along with me. So this is an example of how I define a variable. And see, it gives me a little warning sign. It's like, it's pretty intelligent. It's like, hey, you haven't used it. What's going on, Neil? So first you define the type, then you define the name of the variable, and then you define the current value of the variable. So later I can change it to x equals 6. I can change it to x equals x equals 100. I can change it to x equals 49. You can just change it to any value. And remember, there's 2 phases of every single variable initialization. You start off with there's essentially 2 phases of every single variable's life in Java. You have the initialization phase. You can think of the variables as going in a fraternity, right? So this variable x is joining a fraternity, right? First, all his frat brothers, they give him a name tag. He has a name called x, and they say, hey, here's your current value. You're just a freshman, right? Your value is 5, and then later they're like, okay, we'll give you more freedoms and responsibilities. We can change your value, right? And you don't need this is important to remember, right? You don't have to write the type of the variable every single time. Only the first time around you have to write it. And there's 2 parts to this, really. If you break it down a step further, the left side is called the declaration, and the active assigning the value is called initialization, because initial means first. So what you have to do first is give it a type, a name, and a value. Okay. I hope you guys understand that. And remember, Aditya's right now he's answering some questions around like 2:15. I'll also hop on to see what's going on, but use that resource. Always ask questions, even if you think it's dumb. I can guarantee you, like 10 other people have the exact same sentiment. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to talk about this part. So you guys see how I've highlighted int. So you can also have things like cars. I'll just write it out. Cars. You can have Booleans, right? You can have, you can have strings. You can have a lot of different data types, right? Yeah, these are the main ones, and also doubles, or you'll also sometimes hear like of a float. It's just that double has holds more bytes, so it's, I think float is 32 and 32-bit, and then double is 64 if I recall correctly. So double is a bit stronger, I guess you could say, than float, but they both hold decimals. So I'll just write that down real quick. So car can hold, you know, like, and remember, car is always in single quotes, so you have things like A, B, C, and A, B, C, right? And I'm going to talk about ASCII in a minute, but give me a second. And then you have things like ints, right? We talked about that, like integers, common sense, you learned that in algebra, right? 0, 1, 2, negative, 100, right? And we also have doubles, which are the decimals, like 55.5. And you have, you know, strings, right? Strings are basically like, you know, I like pi. It's a sequence of characters, right? That's all a string is. A sequence of characters encapsulated by double quotes. Cars are single quotes. Please remember that. And you have booleans, right? So, which only has two values, true and false. Cool. Now, there's a special relationship between cars and integers. I don't think it's on the lecture notes, but make sure you pay attention. I might be going a little bit beyond, but I think it's important because in any sort of like introductory programming class, they're going to ask you like to do a little project with that. So it's a convention called Ascii, and basically, so computers, they don't really understand like this sort of higher level language, so they have to always convert it to ones and zeros. And ASCII gives you a system of doing that. It essentially gives every single character, it gives it a integer value. So you know, you can have A, which is I think is 65, and you have B, which is 66. And then you might be wondering, well, Neil, when I'm texting my girlfriend, you know, I use heart emojis and stuff, right? How does that include in ASCII? Well, they actually have a superset. They have a superset, or I spelled superset wrong. Superset of ASCII called UTF. I think right now the most latest is UTF-16. There's also like UTF-8. So it includes things like emojis and things like that. And it's a way for the computer to understand what you're telling it. Okay, cool. Oh, so here's something interesting you can do. So, you know, so I kind of went over that. So pretend don't worry about what I'm doing exactly. Just I'll show you the concept basically. So, do you guys have any guesses on what this will print? Let me check the Discord thing. Where is this? Sorry. Okay, there's no question so far. But okay, so let's see what this will print. Okay, it prints out 65, see? So, characters and integers are very closely related. Okay, and guys, remember to ask questions, because if you ask questions, you'll be enlightened, you'll gain an understanding, which will help you a lot in the future. Cool. Okay. Nice. What else is there to talk about? Yeah, because if you guys have questions, maybe I missed something. It'll help everybody out. Okay, now let's move on to math operations. These are pretty important. You know, it'll be pretty much a baseline for everything else you do. So obviously, as you guys have learned, there are four basic types of math operations, and oh yeah, actually, I think I'll talk about again the Ascii convention. So yeah, let me talk about ASCII again. So like I said, every single uppercase and lowercase character is has a certain value. There's a table for it, and so this is like kind of the beginning of it. And let's say I want the let's just say, okay, so I'm gonna type this out, okay, and let me explain this. So we have system.out.println, which we established was a tool to print something out to the console. And I also remembered I want to talk about something else, but I'll talk about it after this, which is a tool to print something to the console. And so we're printing out a character, which is A, and we're casting that to an integer. So let's talk about casting real quick. So casting helps you shift or convert or cast from one data point to another. So here we're converting from a character to a integer. And I'm pretty sure there's something that works. Let me try it out real quick. Okay, cool, this works. Do you guys see how, because characters and integers are so closely related, we can even go ahead and define a character with the integer data type? I think that's really cool. So basically this is implicitly converting the B character to its corresponding code in Ascii. And here what we're doing is we're explicitly converting our capital A character to 65. So that's the bottom line. And before I move on, I want to talk about the difference between system.out.println and system.out.print. I think that's pretty important. It was something I was confused about when I was first learning Java. You also have like something called a system.out.printf. Those are kind of your three ways of printing to the console, really. System.out.println, it'll print out what you want to print. So let's just say I want to print out like Bob or something, right? It'll print out Bob, and it'll go to the new line. Versus system.out.print, when I print out Bob, it doesn't go to the new line. It just puts a space there, and I keep writing. And system.out.printf is for formatting strings. Don't worry about that right now. So let me show you an example with this, okay? So if I have system.out.print Bob and I have system.out.print Aditya, right? Shout out. All right. If I have these two strings and I print them out, I want you to take what I said 2 seconds ago, and I want you to think about what it'll print. All right. Comment in the channel. Tell me what you think. Let's go back to Code the Universe. Okay. Oh, I can't see the video. That's sad. It's honestly really sad. So I'm reading the discussion right now. It has a really good discussion. Oh, I probably should have posted the Ascii table. My bad. So tell me what you think will print over here. Okay, I guess no one's typing, but that's cool. I'll tell you what it'll print. So remember how I said print doesn't generate a new line? It starts on the same line. So here's what it'll print. Yep, boom. See? Do you see how there's no new line? But now let's do this. I want you to predict what it'll print. And in programming, it's important to do this active thinking exercise as you're working through things before just shotgunning it and seeing how it works. Just try to think. Use your brain. Okay. Boom. And in Replit, this orange like thingy, I think it's called like a in like the Windows command prompt, it'll be like a C:/ your directory. In like I think Unix shells, it'll be like a $ type thing. So in Replit, it's like this orange indicator, and so notice how it hasn't gone to the next line. But if I did println, it would have gone to the next line. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, I think that's good. Remember, ask questions, guys. Now let's just talk about math operations, okay? So in math, when you're in Miss Bumblebee's class, you guys learned 4 operations, right? You guys learned addition. Miss Bumblebee taught you subtraction. She taught you what's the third thing? Multiplication, right? Multiplication. See, I think I'm better at math than spelling, but that's just me. Division. Okay, well, get ready to get your mind blown. There's actually a 5th operation that programmers really commonly used. It's called the Modulo Operator, which is also like modulus, the modulus or Modulo Operator. So let's talk about addition. So I already taught you how to initialize a variable. So and remember, commenting our code is really important so that other people who are not as, I'm just kidding, other people who like don't understand what you're trying to type can understand it. Okay, let's first we have to initialize our variables, right? So I'm going to say int a equals 5, int b equals 6. And if you don't understand this, please remember to ask in there. Let's see. Anyone have any questions about this so far? Because if you don't understand this, then you're not going to understand like the rest of the lecture. So I just want to make sure everyone's good. Is everyone okay? Let me know. What did you write in 3 and 4? I don't know what that means really. Anyway, I think the TA's got you. Alright, int a equals 5, int b equals 6. And if I want to add two numbers, okay, let's say int c, right? Let's set this to 0 for now. So if I want to add two numbers, I'm going to do c equals a plus b. You know, it's pretty straightforward. So c, here's something I want to mention. In programming, you have something called the right to left motion. So a plus b, are you guys paying attention? This is important. A plus b gets assigned to c. Not, in math, you're thinking, okay, 3 plus 2 equals 5. You know, that's like a left to right motion. Programming has a right to left motion. So a plus b first gets evaluated and then it gets assigned to c. It's extremely important, and I hope you guys remember that. Anyway, so c equals a plus b will get assigned the value 11. So I'm going to go ahead and print that out. Okay. Work. Cool, it's 11, yep. And let's try subtraction. So c equals a minus b. And I want to bring up an important point here. Notice how I said variables can take on any value. So when we reassign the variable, it's called reassigning the variable. When we reassign the variable, it takes on a new value. Do you know what I mean? Okay, someone tag me. Oh, lines 3 and 4. Okay, my bad. You're right. Okay, lines 3 and 4. Oh, yeah. I talked about that in the beginning a little bit. If you're paying attention, I said, I said for now, ignore these and simply think of them as a tool for Java to know where to start running your program, right? So I'll definitely go into in depth, and if you want a one-on-one explanation, I can talk to you after the class. But for now, just ignore it. It'll make so much more sense later. Trust me. Within like a couple weeks maybe. Okay. So like I was saying, reassigning the variable. So it reassigns it based on subtraction. So what is 5 minus 6? Negative 1. So let's try printing this out. It should print negative 1. Okay, cool. Now let's try multiplying. So basically, they're just like common sense things so far. And I think the most important thing to pay attention to is the concept of reassigning the variable. And if you want me to go a little bit even like more in depth, I can do that, because I know like these concepts are foreign to a lot of people. In terms of like reassigning variables, initializing variables, it doesn't really make sense, which is understandable. Like this is a foreign language if you're learning it for the first time. So that equals 30. So we should running that again. Cool. Division. So, oh yeah, Java has something called integer division, which I do want to talk about. So, okay, here's an interesting exercise. Let me reassign these. Let me do this like 10 divided by 3. Okay. So, let's just say I do c equals a divided by b, and I do system.out.println c. So, what do you think this will print? This is a very interesting concept in Java. Some other like non-type languages don't really do this, but Java is heavily typed, meaning it has like everything is defined to the T. You know, it's a very strict language. It's, hey, you have to have int here. C++ also like this. You have to have double here. You have to write everything out. Python, it's like, oh, you can do whatever you want. We'll worry about it under the hood. Don't really think about it. You know, so Java's different in that way, and because it's so typed, they have integer division, which I want you guys to make a prediction. What do you guys think? I'll check the Discord chat. It will print 3. Okay, I see you guys. Y'all are pretty y'all know what you're doing. Okay. Because it is an int. Yep, Koala adult knows what he's talking about. Is there a way to do multi-line commenting? Oh yeah, you already got your answer. Yep. I'm sorry I didn't bring that up. I should have thought of that, but Smile and Lucidity said, I mean like car1 equals a. Is there a way to print both in a single print statement, or two needed? Okay, I'll definitely go over that. That's a good point. I'll talk about concatenation a little bit. Cool. So yeah, this will print out 3. You guys are right. Okay, cool. So here's why it'll print out 3. I'll explain it. So if I'm dividing 10 divided by 3, it should print out 3 point, like, what, 3, right? But when you divide two integers, it truncates this decimal component and leaves you, boom. That's what it does. So what do you guys think 13 divided by 3 will print? Let's see your answers. 4. Yep. Beans cornbread 1 knows what yep. Everybody got 4. So I think you guys understand that basically how typically this would print out what 4.333333. Integer division. Because I'm dividing two integers, I truncate the decimal. Okay. Now I'm going to spice things up a little bit. So double. Now tell me what you guys think this will print. And remember I talked about casting, how this basically explicitly, not implicitly, explicitly converts B into a decimal. So I want to see what you guys think. He said, Pop says still 4, okay. Anyone, oh yeah, A2P Defender, I said truncates. Truncates means cut off. You can imagine a knife cutting off that decimal part. Pop says still 4, John Rack says 4 point something, and Alpha 10F says still 4. JP Bermuda's typing. Let's see what he has to say. What does double do again? Oh, double is just like a decimal. It's like 5.6 or 10.8. Integer is like, okay. So most of you guys are wrong, and here's why. When you have any sort of double in your equation, everything automatically goes back to normal. The only like edge case is when you have dividing two integers. Dividing two integers is just weird. Everything else works perfectly fine. No need to even think about that. But when you're dividing two integers, it's really weird. So here, let me go ahead and run this. Oh shoot. Oh, wait, I made a mistake. My bad. Okay, shoot. I have to talk about narrowing and widening conversions, and I literally just made a mistake. It's okay to make mistakes, guys. You just have to understand why you made them. So let me take a brief foray into conversions. You have narrowing conversions, and you have widening conversions. Also, I'm kind of going like a little bit all over the place. If anyone like wants me to clarify, I can clarify. Okay. So narrowing conversions is when I go from a double to an int, and widening conversions are when I go from a int to a double. These words are pretty self-explanatory. Narrow means I'm getting narrower because double is bigger than int. 5.5 is bigger than 5 because it has more like placeholders. Widening is when I go from something smaller, which is an int, to a double. So recall what conversions are. Conversions are like this, or like this. These are conversions. So narrowing conversion would be int 5.0. That's narrowing my double into an int. Widening conversion means I'm widening my integer. Now let's think about the implications of both of these. A narrowing conversion, in a narrowing conversion, I'm losing data. In a widening conversion, I'm not losing any sort of data. So in a narrowing conversion, I lose the decimal part and become an integer. In a widening conversion, I get a decimal point added on to my integer. Okay, that's like a brief foray. Make note of that. It's an important concept. And now let's go back to integer division. So when I print out like 10 divided by 3, it prints out 3, which most of you all understand. Oh, wait. Okay. Cool, it prints out 3. And now tell me what you guys think will happen if I do this. I'm reading the Okay, okay, yeah. Stingy and Beezing cornbread know what they're talking about. Yep. Anybody else have any guesses? A2P Defender is also on there. Also, during the lecture, this is like I haven't really done too many streams before or like lecturing, so make sure you give me like advice on what I should be doing as I'm like lecturing and stuff. So 10.0 converts it into double. Exactly, that's perfect. 10.0 is a double value. That's right. 3.33. Rohan says 3.4. Well, let's go ahead and test it out. Let's see what it tells us. It says 3.333 repeating. And that makes sense because when you have a double divided by an int, it just does normal decimal division. The only weird case, so let me emphasize that, this is the weird case. Everything else is normal. Okay, keep that in mind. So let me try this. Tell me what you think this will print. Line number 8. Tell me what you guys think line number 8 will print. The recording of the lecture will be available. Yup, ooh, machine, it will be available. JP Bermuda says 3. Okay, anybody disagree? Tayo says 3.0. Okay. Okay, yeah, Beansy Cornbread got it right. That's perfect. DeadSec says 3.0. I don't think y'all are understanding the idea. This is just normal division. This is not integer division. Integer division is when you have two integers. I remember some guy, I forgot his name. Let's see. Oh yeah, A2P Defender asked, is 10.0 a double? Yep, 10.0 is a double. When I have a double divided by integer, I have a double in the end. So this is just going to print out 3.335 again. So I'll show you that. Oh yeah, see, it says prints out the exact same thing. So when you that's the bottom line really. When you have two integers, it's weird. Everything else is perfectly fine. So let me show you the narrowing and widening types more explicitly, but I think I went over casting and stuff a little bit too quickly. So okay. So pretend I'm doing integer division, right? Like a ignorant person would do. So this will print out 3 as you all correctly said, and you understand why. Okay. And then pretend I do this. Now I want to ask you the question. Is this casting, is this a widening type or a narrowing casting? Or a narrowing conversion? Tell me in the Discord chat below. Okay, he says widening. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. He's just displaying. Oh, I can't see. Oh, he's just displaying in the console, right? Yep, I'm outputting to the console. That's what system.out means. It's a console object. Oh, Adriana is the dissenter opinion. She says narrowing. Interesting. Well, I'm going to have to oh, Cappy. Okay, I see you. This is actually widening because we're going from an integer to a double. So the way I visualize that is I say it. So which one's bigger, this guy or this guy? And I'm not talking about bigger in terms of value. I'm saying bigger in terms of the number of places, decimal. So it's if you visualize, it's really easy. Like if you write it out, which number would be bigger? So in this case, what is bigger, 10 or 10.0? It's clear that if we're going from 10 to 10.0, we're getting bigger. Wide means bigger. Therefore, 10 to 10.0 must be a widening conversion. So I'll just go ahead and run that just to show it. Yep, see how it prints out the normal thing because we're not doing integer division anymore. Okay, I think I've gone way too deep into this. I hope you'll understand it. And I need to show you guys the Modulus Operator. So, and then I want to show you concatenation because apparently I forgot to bring that up. So, so we have, so I remember, so do you guys remember division? When you have 10 divided by 3, this is 3 remainder 1. When I have 15 divided by 4, this is 3 remainder 3. When I have 10 divided by 16, right? Basically division is asking how many times can I put the guy on the left into the guy on the right, right? So this would be, what is it? This would be 0 with 10 left over, right? So you might be wondering, how can we pick apart the remainder part? That's modulus. So let me rewrite the above. 10 mod 3 equals 1. 15 mod 4 equals, 3. 10 mod 16 equals 10. So that's the bottom line. It just extracts the remainder. Integer division extracts the guy on the left side of the R. Modulus extracts the guy on the right side, right? That makes sense, sort of. I think it's pretty cool. So let me give you a few examples. So I'm gonna give you guys some practice questions. I want to see how you guys do. Ooh. Okay, I have some good ones. All right. Tell me what you guys think. What y'all think this will print out. Reading your Discord chats. Okay, they're all saying 0. Okay. Sorry, just came right now. That's okay. No problem, man. 0 R15. JP Bermuda, I don't think you understand it. I can explain it again. So yeah, 0 is the right answer because it's extracting the remainder, and it'll print out 0. Yep, perfect. Okay. I was gonna talk about something. Oh, okay. I'll give you another question. Tell me what you guys think this will print. It's a trick question. Okay. 20 mod 4. Okay, A2P Defender thinks 4. Hitman thinks 5. Yep. So basically, I'm including this as like a like a string representation, and it's printing it as a string. So the compiler is seeing this as a series of characters, not as an actual operation. So if I wanted to print out 0, I would take away the quotes. So that's like an important thing to remember. Yeah, perfect. So let's talk about the more cool ideas. Oh, I want to talk about concatenation. I forgot to bring that up earlier. So pretend I have two variables. See, I forgot the semicolon already. I told you guys to remember that at the beginning of the lecture, right? Okay. So pretend I have 3 strings, right? My first string is Neil, my second string is, my third string is not awesome, right? I'm not saying Neil's not awesome, they're just distinct strings, right? Anyway. Now, the question was, how can I print out multiple like entities on the same line? You use the plus sign operator, basically. And here's how I would do it. Tell me if you have any questions. And there's a caveat to this, which I'll go over later. Or I'll go over in like 2 seconds, but this is what this should print out. Neil is not awesome. Great. Thanks y'all. Do we have any questions on that? It's a really important concept. Neo is, what is this called? Oh, this is called a string concatenation. Cool. Okay, let me talk about concatenating other types, right? Okay, let's talk about different things. So int a equals 5. No. It's string concatenation, not other types of concatenation. I think you can have character concatenation too. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try. I'm not exactly sure, and it's okay to not know things, but remember, you can always fire up your editor and try it out, right? There's no shame in not knowing. Okay. So let's see if I do system.out.println a plus b plus c. Let's see what this prints out, because I remember her question was specific to characters, so this should be helpful. Okay. Oh, cool. This implicitly converts it to an integer, and it prints using Ascii, which I talked about earlier, and it prints it out. So I think we have to explicitly cast this each part into a character if we want to actually concatenate it. So let's take a look. Okay, it still prints out 297, so it's basically stubborn. It won't concatenate those. But what you can do is, I'm pretty sure you can do like string. Like if I have a string data type, like string b, I don't know if I set it equal to nothing. Oh yeah, this is a way of setting a string equal to nothing. Just put open quotes. It's the easy way to initialize. If I do, oh wait, I'm gonna talk about that operator. Okay, so there's an operator called plus equals, which means, like if I say, wait, if I say int a equals 0 and I say a plus equals 1, this is the same thing as a equals a plus 1. They're the exact same thing. So do you see what's happening here? I'm incrementing a by 1, so this turns into 1, and I'm assigning it to a. So the new value of a is 1. So I'll do some few exercises with that real quick, and then I'll talk about string like adding basically. So tell me what you guys think this will print out in the Discord channel. I'm curious. Okay, let's see. I think someone tagged me. It casts to an int. Yeah, it's like an implicit cast basically. Let's see. Okay, B's into Cordal, and I recommend you all to be active. Okay, when you're participating in lecture, it's not enough to blindly watch. You have to be very active. Okay, so let's see what I know. This is probably a stupid question, but can you name the variable a b instead of a? You can name it a variable anything you want. Yep. So he's saying 1. Well, guess what, guys? You're exactly right, and that's a consequence of the increment. So now, tell me what you guys think this will print out. Or actually, I'll spice it up a little bit. Tell me what you guys think this will print out. He says 1, 2, 3. Are you guys counting the ABCs? I'm just kidding. 4, 3, 3, 3. Yeah. So 3 is the right answer because all I'm doing here is I'm initializing it to 0. I'm adding 3 and I'm printing it out. So 0 plus 3 is 3, and I'm printing out 3 to the console. Cool. Yep. Okay. Now here is the final operator. Tell me what you guys think this will print out. 1. Okay. 1. Nice. Might be the character dot value of 1. Okay, he's getting interesting there. Okay, yep, 1 is the correct answer. A++ means increment, which means you basically add it by 1. There's a decrement operator, which is a minus minus, means you just decrease it by 1. This is equivalent to writing a equals a minus 1. Pretty cool stuff, in my opinion. Okay. I really hope you guys are understanding. If you guys aren't understanding, remember, you can I'll stop and explain it. I don't want to go too fast. Okay. I think we have a lot of time because it's from 2 to 3:30 in my standard time. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a programming question. Post your code in Discord. I want you to, let me write the instructions out. Define a variable called x with a value of 10. Mod it with a number so that its remainder is 1. Store this remainder in a new variable and print it out in its equivalent Ascii. I think this is a really good compilation of it if you've actually understood it. I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to do it, and don't look at my screen, but I'll be coding out a solution if you guys let me know if this is too hard or anything. I don't want it to be. I think it's pretty difficult based on what we've learned, but if it's let me know what you guys think. Can you copy paste structure? Yeah, of course, bro. Oh yeah, this is pretty difficult. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of a hint. So it tells me define a variable called x with a value of 10. So how do we define variables? First, let's answer that question. Tell me in the channel how you think we define variables. Try to do the first step in the channel. Int. Okay, good. We're getting somewhere. Int. Yep. Int equals n. It's not quite right, but that's good that you're putting your ideas out. Int x equals 10. Perfect. Yep. Int x equals 10. How do you think we can do it? How do you think we can execute step 2? And this is an important part of programming. Eventually you'll encounter some advanced concepts, things like that I haven't learned yet, like dynamic programming stuff and recursion, which is basically breaking up your problem into smaller parts. It all starts with this. Data 10 mod 3. Not quite right, Hitman. Oh, yep, stingy got it. X mod 9. The reason it's X mod 9 is because we want our remainder to be 1. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what do we mod with 10 to get remainder 1? So if we do 10 divided by 9, we get 1 remainder 1. Right? Does that make sense? Let me take the channel. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So we can do, you know, we can say int a will store the remainder. Make sure you comment your code. A will store the remainder, 10 mod 9, right? And it says store this remainder in a new variable and print it out in its equivalent ASCII. So let's see what this prints. I hope it doesn't print out the number. Okay, so this is a lossy conversion, which means that we're doing a narrowing conversion, and you can't do narrowing conversions unless you explicitly do it. So let me see. So I have to explicitly cast it if I want to do a narrowing conversion. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I think it's hard to like print out characters, so we'll just go ahead and print out that number, I guess. Let's see what this gives us. It should give us 1. Yeah, cool. It gives us 1. Okay. Moving on. Oh yeah, I don't want you guys to look at the solution. But task is to swap a number. So our task is to swap a number. Swap 2 numbers, not swap a number. Swap 2 numbers. Okay, I got tagged. Let's see what it says. 10 mod 9 is 1. ASCII for 1 is weird. Oh, okay, yeah, I know. ASCII's a little weird. But yeah, tell me how you guys think we should break up the problem of swapping 2 numbers. There's actually 3 ways to do it, but yeah, no problem, Hitman. Let me know if you have questions, by the way. Like, just keep asking questions. That Aditya and Suvan are answering most of them, though, so I don't really need to do anything. But tell me how you guys think we should break up this problem. I'm just curious your thought process, because once you can hear someone's thought process, you can break it down from the bottom up and try to understand where they're coming from. Select 3 variables. Okay, Rohan is on the right path. So we have to make 3 variables, right? We have to create a temporary variable. So let's say we want to swap the numbers 5 and 6. So int a equals 5 and b equals 6. Int temp equals 0, right? That's the first step. Now what do you guys think we should do after this? Yeah, I'll probably end up ending it sooner because we don't have that many topics to go over today, but yeah. Could you not delete parts of the code as you move on? Oh, dude, my bad. I'll post this recording later, so you'll have access. A to temp, B to A, temp to B. Yep, dude, you got it right. Nice. That requires some critical thinking. Okay, so let's do what I forgot his name already. What's his name? We'll do what bathd.dmn does. Okay, so I like picturing these type of things. So I don't have like a drawing tool or anything, but try to take it step by step. So first thing we want to do is we want to store the value of any one of our variables inside of this inside of our temporary variable, right? Alright, let's see, someone tagged me. Neil, you should just comment out the code you're done with. Okay, cool, I'll do that. Temp equals A, and then A equals B, and B equals temp, right? That's what you said? Let's see if this works. So this is an example of concatenation. Do y'all see what I'm doing here? Make sure you pay attention. This is how you concatenate. And you can concatenate strings and integers. It automatically does the conversion for you. In Java, you'll notice a lot of things are explicit and a lot of things are implicit. This also ties back to the concept of abstraction. When you abstract something, everything's under the hood, therefore it's implicit. Otherwise, if it's not under the hood, it's explicit. In C++, you have to do a lot of things like memory allocation, pointers, things like that, and those are all explicit things. The more explicit you are, the more control you have over your program. The less explicit you are, or the more implicit you are, the less control you have, but the easier it is to work with. Graphical user interfaces are a great example of this, as the versus command line. Anyway, I went off a little bit of tangent there. And then we can say our final value. If you don't understand this, make sure you look at it over the lecture, and I'll feel free to ask any questions. Our final values are, our original values are, Okay, let's see what it tells us. So I'm just creating some space between the numbers. Oh, my back's hurting. Alright. Oh, Jesus. Let's see what the problem is. It says we need a parenthesis. Parentheses expected. On line number 9. So let's take a look at that. Okay. I think I know. I think I know what's wrong. Let's see. Okay, let's try it now. Oh, there's still an issue. Okay, I see. Maybe I should take. Oh, I forgot a plus. I'm an idiot. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, thank God. Alright. So do you guys see how it's flipped over here? Are you gonna post the lecture post up later on? Yeah, I got you, bro. Alright, it says our original values are 5 and 6, and our final values are 6 and 5. And in programming, you'll notice the big thing is using a third variable to implement some sort of operation, using external factors, using external libraries, using external elements in order to influence the internal. So here we're using temp to influence the swapping of A and B. It's a really cool idea, and it carries over to a lot of disciplines like chemistry, physics, all that. So yeah, let's talk about the next concept. Okay, I don't know if I didn't go over anything, but this is, I think I went over most of the stuff. I'll answer questions for a few minutes till 3, and then I think we should be good. Oh, whoops, I shouldn't have commented. I should comment that out, right? Like you guys mentioned. What is the Discord syntax for posting code? So use 3 asterisks in Java. So I'll show you guys how to do that. So in Discord you do. Oh, I think my Wi-Fi went out. This plugin crashed. Thank you, Replit. Okay, it's cloud-based, so it saved my stuff. Nice. Anyone using IntelliJ? Yep. I use a bit of IntelliJ. IntelliJ is like the standard like Java editor, I think. Or Eclipse, people use Eclipse too. So Eclipse, okay, Eclipse gang, alright. Is it okay if I use VS Code? Yeah, so the VS Code is a text editor, and IntelliJ is like an IDE, which means that IntelliJ has more functionality basically, but VS Code in my opinion has a nicer user interface. It looks sexy or better. You said there are 3 ways to swap 2 numbers. First is temp, second is addition and subtraction. What is the third one? So you can swap variables using something called XOR, which is a really advanced concept, so I won't go into that. Can you show a math operation with multiplication and addition both in the statement? Yeah, sure I will. So first let me answer Alpha's question. So okay, so there's another way to swap a variable without a third temporary variable, and I'll show you guys that real quick. At request of Alpha. And I also will show a math problem with multiplication and addition. So let me go over that real quick. So there's a way that uses the product. So let me show you the code and then I'll explain it. Let me think about it a second. Okay, so I assigned that guy there. I'll explain it afterwards. Don't worry, I'm just thinking right now. Okay, cool. Let's see what it does. I hope it's right. Okay, nice, it's right. So here's what's happening, right? After this statement, my value of A is 11, and my value of B is 6. After this statement, my value of B is 5, and my value of A is still 11. So effectively, I've swapped my B, because now my B is 5 when it should be 6, right? And then my value of A is 6, and my value of B is 5. Do you guys see how cool that is? Like, I just swapped my variable just through mathematical operations. There's something else you can use called XOR, but I'm not going to go into that today. I might mention it next class when we go over like logical operators and stuff, like OR and XOR just means exclusive OR, which means that I'll talk about it later. Don't worry. Now, what was the next thing you wanted me to go over? Like how to show you an example of doing multiple operations? I will. So this is a quick example. Println 5 times 6 plus 3. What do you guys think that'll print? Yeah, bitwise operators, exactly, Alpha. You know what you're talking about. $33. Okay, we have some math whizzes in the watching the lecture. I see you guys. All right. All right. Let's see what it tells us. It seems you guys are actually faster than a calculator. In this case, faster than Replit. Except for Hitman. Hitman said it like a second too late. I guess he's not faster. I'm just kidding. All right. Do you guys want me to show you anything else? Those are some good questions. What if the addition was first? Oh, this is just PEMDAS. Do you guys know what PEMDAS is? Parentheses, exponentiation and logarithms, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. That'll be your thing. So what will be our assignment? Yeah, I'm thinking right now it'll be some like simple interest thing, like calculating the simple interest given a year per year rate and a principal amount and asking you to calculate how much money you owe after a certain year. That's what I'm thinking the problem's gonna be, but I'm not sure. But I just told you so you can start thinking about it. So any other questions about you know, even the general like JDK, JVM, JRE, like those things, like compilers, how that works, how bytecode works, how Java works with Python, all those things I can try and answer. I might not know the specifics, but I can always try my best. Oh, thanks, Cappy. I forgot to talk about Boolean. So let me talk about Boolean real quick. So, okay, so remember Boolean? Unlike other variables, it can only take on two values, true, false. And that way, it's closer to a constant than most variables are because it only has two values. So, Boolean, I can say, and remember, you can call a variable anything. I can say like Boolean your mom equals true, right? Or I can say Boolean your dad equals true. But if you want to write readable code, you want to make the variable name relevant to the context. So like, let's say you're designing an infrastructure for a house. You might want to say Boolean light switch because you're making a house equals true, and Boolean. Let's say you're designing the garden. Boolean hose state equals true, like if the hose is on or off, right? True or false, on or off, in and out. They're all binary situations. 0 and 1. Cool stuff, right? Ooh. Anyway, let me ignore that. Alright. Let me go back to the chat. Where could it have gone? Okay. Byte, short. Yeah. Oh yeah, also the convention in Java I think is you can use camel case. In Python the convention is underscore. It doesn't matter really, but it's just like, you know, it's just convention. What is byte? Oh, let me talk about bytes and bits. Okay. Oh yeah, also let me try printing out the Boolean first. We can end around 3:10, I think, if you guys have more questions, but I'm just going over some. I already finished the lecture. I'm just answering questions, I guess. So is which Suvan and Aditya have been doing the entire lecture. So you can just print out true and false, and we'll talk about Boolean operations next class, like and or things like that. What was the question? I have a terrible working memory. What was it? What is ION? Yeah, I have no clue, dude. I don't even know what that is. I think you meant long, maybe? I have no clue. Anyway. Yeah, true equals 1, false equals 0. That's exactly right. Let's see. I forgot, oh, bytes and bits, right, of course. So, in computers, you have something called memory, which is in a place called a heap. And here's how memory works. You can think of it as a filing cabinet. So you have drawer 1, drawer 2, drawer 3, drawer 4, whatever, right? And in each of these drawers, you have, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In drawer 2, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drawer 3, etc., right? So you have these drawers, and they have 8 bits. Each drawer has 1 byte. 1 byte is 8 bits. And when I'm assigning a variable like int, it'll assign 8 drawers to my integer variable, because integer, in most cases, obviously you can change the type of integer you're using if you want to. In Python, no, you can. I think in Java you can as well. But it'll assign 64 bits or 8 bytes or 8 drawers in memory for every single integer. So that's the job of kind of the memory allocation, which is not that important to understand for Java. Yeah, they meant long. Yeah, that's what I thought. Long is also, I think, like a decimal, or I mean, it's like a, shoot. It's just another way. Don't worry about it. No one uses it. It's sort of like float and double. 32-bit, and yeah, you can have 32-bit. You can even have a 16-bit, and it just limits. Oh, I want to talk about unsigned versus signed integers. So unsigned versus signed. So if you have an unsigned integer, that means it doesn't have a sign. If you have a signed integer, that means you have like -5, -6, and 5, 6. So, yeah. It just means if you have an unsigned integer, that means you can have more numbers because you're solely confined. I mean, you can have more positive numbers because you're solely confined to the upper half of the number line, right? So it makes sense. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Otherwise, I can wrap it up if you guys have no more questions. We'll wrap it up at 3:05, definitely. Signed integers have first bit as signed bit, unsigned don't have it. Yeah, there's something called 2's complement, which is basically how like really smart computer science guys wanted to show negatives in binary. And they basically had the first bit as like a negative number, and then they flipped the bits twice or something. I forgot exactly, but it's called 2's complement. You should look into it. In Java, I don't think there's an unsigned int. I think there was a way you could do that. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure you could say, like, unsigned at the beginning. No, I think yeah, I think Suwan's right. I don't think you can actually have an unsigned integer. Let me try. See what happens. Yeah. I don't think you can have an unsigned integer in Java. Yeah, but that's a basic. It's like a concept basically. What is JRE and JIT? So, JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment, and JIT stands for Just-in-Time Compiler. JRE is, so on the very outside you have JDK. Nested inside of JDK you have JRE, and nested inside of JRE you have JIT. So basically, an overview of what happens is you have your source code, which is what we're typing, and the Java compiler converts that into bytecode, which is an intermediary stage, and then that bytecode, using the JIT and also using the Java interpreter, it converts that into machine code, which your computer can understand in ones and zeros. And your Java run, there's a really good diagram I looked at one time. Your JIT compiles or interprets something called hot code, which is basically code that's necessary to your program. Interpretation is very slow. It does it by line, so sometimes if something's essential, they might want to do it a bit quicker, and so they use the JIT, which is just-in-time compilation, and it sort of does it in chunks. Yeah, that's a basic overview. And JDK comes with its tools, and it includes JRE. Yeah, I have to go now, but thanks for the okay. I think we'll wrap it up here. Please tell me how I can improve my lecturing style. This is sort of like my first time doing this kind of thing, or like I haven't done many of this stuff, so I'd appreciate feedback or anything. Ways I can improve, if I miss concepts, if you want me to be more comprehensive, just anything would be helpful. When will we be notified when our assignments, vocabs? Yeah, so the Aditya usually makes announcements. He's sort of in charge. Him and Risha are sort of in charge of this whole thing. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. I think I'm gonna head out now.